everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here today to do our Brothers How You Doing recap of trending topics from last week. So some of the stuff you probably already heard about. Some of it you may not have heard about it, but it was things that piqued my interest during the week, and so I write them all down to come and bring you this video. And some of the items actually have updates to them, so that's a good thing. So the first thing really isn't that important. Is Tristan Thompson. Those of you who know who Tristan is, he's a professional basketball player that has a daughter with Khloe Kardashian. And a while ago, probably earlier in the year, there was an incident where something went down between Tristan and this girl named Jordan Woods. And Jordan Woods is actually, or was actually, the best friend of Khloe's sister. And so it was a big mess, but the reason it's coming back up now is because it was part of the Keeping Up with the Kardashians season finale that took place last week. And so in the season finale, Khloe tried to insinuate that Tristan may have some mental problems and that he may have been, I don't want to say suicidal, but he basically texted her. They were texting back and forth. She was talking to Scott, which is the other sister, Courtney's baby daddy, and she was reading the text. And so in one of the texts, allegedly he said, I don't want to live without you. And we all know that that's a common statement that people make when you get into an argument and a fight and you break up and you're just trying to say anything. It doesn't mean that you want to take your life. It just means that, I want you back, okay? And I just can't see my future without you because you mean so much to me. And so Khloe tried to spin it, that he was just distraught over their breakup. Well, someone close to Tristan immediately clapped back on the notion and put out a statement that nothing could be further from the truth, that was just a casual statement that people make all the time, that he is in great mental health, he is not suffering from depression, and that this is just the type of thing that the Kardashians do for ratings, but Tristan is doing a-okay. So then our next story is our friend R. Kelly. And so if you want my updates and opinions and views about his court hearing last week, that video is up, and you can find all of my coverage of the R. Kelly case under the playlist R. Kelly series. I had to tweak and play around with the titles because for some reason YouTube is trying to censor YouTubers that talk about R. Kelly by reducing or eliminating our monetization on those videos. So we have to be creative with our titles and the tags and keywords that we use to get viewers to those. So if you are interested, follow that playlist, and then every time I post a video that's specific to the case, you'll get a notification and you can go and check it out. So this update is actually about a blog that was put out by the Chicago Sun-Times where they were talking about R. Kelly, and they were basically saying that he's not hiding from the public. He's living his life, doing things that normal people do, and so don't be worried about him. And I said this before, that I believe people think that he's up in his condo at Trump Tower sitting in the dark, crying the blues and not getting out and moving about. And so this interview was kind of crazy because we know that they were talking to Daryl Johnson, the publicist, about they were interviewing him, and then they would switch and say the sources say, or our sources say, but we know it was Daryl. But basically they were saying that the Tuesday before the hearing, that he was out with some of his friends and they were at this restaurant called Tavern on the Rush or something like that. and that, they were hanging out, having a good time, and that people would think that he would be afraid to go out in public because they don't know how the public is going to respond to him, if they're going to come up and say things to him. And they point out how Donald Trump's son Eric was at a restaurant in Chicago, and the waitress spit on him, which I think is totally disgusting, and he probably should have slapped her even if she was a woman. But they said that R. Kelly doesn't have that problem, and that one thing I thought was interesting is that they tell him not to go places where a lot of millennials hang out. And so I guess millennials are just off the chain. But millennials really need to check themselves, because you can get put down just like the next person. We done seen that on several videos that have went viral, where these young people are coming up at these older people, and the older people let them know, don't let my age fool you. And next thing you know, you lay that on the ground. But anyway, while they were at this restaurant, people were coming up, asking to take pictures, giving him a hug, giving him words of encouragement. And so then he went to court, and then, they talk about briefly about what happened at court. But like I said, you can find that in my video. And went on to say that, while he's awaiting trial and he's, hoping for a speedy resolution, that he's working on new music. And according to Daryl, we can expect a new CD to come out in the next few months. So I don't know if R. Kelly is going to release it on his, because he has a record label called Rockland, and so he could release it on that Rockland label. But then the issue becomes, how is he going to get it out into the market? Will Spotify, Amazon, all these other places allow him to stream it on their platforms, or if he's going to have to come up with another way to stream his music? But we'll be looking out. And then also, I mentioned this in a previous video, how there's been like 2 or 3 songs that have been released since all of this started taking place. And people think that that is new music, but it actually isn't new music. It's music that came out several years ago, but it just was never released, formally released. And I'm not sure if it was music that was supposed to be on one of the 2 remaining albums or CDs that he was supposed to do under his Sony contract. But one of them is Air, and then the other one, Born to My Music. And there's one more that I can't think of the name of it, but those are not songs that he just wrote. Those were songs that he actually produced about 4 years ago. So the next hearing is August 19th, and R. Kelly, do your thing, and the people love you, and go where you want to go, do what you want to do. The next person is a bit of sad news. There's a YouTuber by the name of Desmond Amofa, and his gaming community name was Itika. And so he had been exhibiting some signs of depression on his YouTube channel. YouTube had actually deleted some of his videos as violating policy guidelines. Well, unfortunately, his body was found in the New York City River. It looks like he may have taken his own life. And it's just a sign that, we have to pay attention to the people around us. And even like YouTubers, because he's not the first YouTuber to pass away. There's been several YouTubers that have been killed, that have died from long-standing illnesses, and then who take their own lives. And so even though people are on their platform, they're sharing their experiences, you have to keep in mind that these are real people with real emotions, with real things going on in their lives once they turn that camera off. And so, some of the things that people say in the comments, just hateful, spiteful things that they say, you never know how it is impacting that YouTuber that you are making those cruel comments to. And then also you have to check your own self and wonder what's going on in your own mind that would make you get on social media and just be so negative and nasty and hateful to other people and wish horrible things on other people, because to me that says more about you than it does about the YouTuber that you are being mean-spirited to. And then next we go over to our friend 50 Cent. Okay, so If it ain't one thing with 50 Cent, it is another. So y'all know on Mondays, 50 be collecting that money that is owed to him. Well, last week, 50 was in Barcelona, I believe, and he was feeling himself. And so I guess he was watching the last season of Power, or he was watching the new season that's about to come out in a couple of months. I think in August is when it premieres. And it was supposed to be the last season, and then they were going to do these spin-offs. Well, 50 said he's so damn impressed with the work that he done that Power is not going to end. And that Power gonna do a couple of more seasons. So we don't know if 50 was just running his mouth or if he is really in talks with stars to extend Power. I'm just hoping that Power is much better than it's been the last two seasons. Because if it's along that same line, we don't need no another season 50. We need to just let it end. And I'm still trying to figure out, so he's supposed to have like 4 or 5 spinoffs planned from Power, and I'm trying to figure out who, like I could see Ghost, that he could become legit, finally get out of the game, and then his spinoff could be how the feds are still coming after him, or how he keeps getting pulled in because he just got to help other people. Tariq, I could see him having a spinoff where he up there at that school becoming a drug dealer, selling them drugs to the kids, and I can see all kind of calamity he could get into. We know that that Dre is in witness protection, so we don't know. No, he was in witness protection. I think that was a little hoax that they had. But anyway, I can see Tommy getting kudos for killing his dad and then becoming like a big lead in the mob, in the mob scene. I don't know where Tasha would fit in, because Tasha kind of just seems to be lost out there. So Tasha's role could be trying to keep up with Tariq over in school, and keep him out of prison. And whatever the spinoffs are, I just hope that Ghost and Angela don't end up together, because I'm not trying to watch no spinoff that includes her. And we already know she didn't die in the last episode, and she will be back in this season 6 with her shenanigans. So what do you guys think? Do you want 50 to extend Power, or do you think that Power has run its course? Then everybody's television father, Bill Cosby. So I told y'all before how Bill Cosby be on Twitter and other social media platforms. Well, we know it's the Andrew guy, his publicist, who's about as bad as Daryl Johnson. But the latest news from Bill Cosby is that he has formally filed an appeal. And so basically his appeal has to do with the 5 women that the judge allowed to testify in the case that sent him to prison. And so a lot of people were speculating that this was going to be the case, because it's like, how do you allow people who can't even prove their own selves have been assaulted by this man, and just allow them to come and testify and tell these unsubstantiated, unfounded stories to a jury to sway the jury's opinion about this man? And it's similar to like what's happening with the R. Kelly case, is that you just got all these people that are not connected with the case that's actually going to be tried, like Ashante McGee, Lisa Van Allen, Faith Rogers, Kitty Jones. So they're out there telling their stories, running their mouths, but they're not connected to the actual criminal case. And I'm telling y'all, they mess around here and let them heifers come and testify at R. Kelly's trial, and y'all know it's going to be a mutiny, okay? People are going to lose their minds, so let's just pray that that doesn't happen. But according to the appeal filed by Cosby's team, the comedian filed documents in the Superior Court of Pennsylvania and argued that the testimony allowed during his second trial by 5 women accusing him of assault was not relevant and should not have been used for his conviction. So what do you guys think? Does he have a good case? Do you think that the Superior Court of Pennsylvania is going to hear his appeal and rule in his favor on the appeal? Oh, and then also with the Cosby case, Camille, has been very outspoken against Judge O'Neill, which was the judge in the case. and said that with a great deal of help from the media has tried to turn Bill Cosby into one of the most insidious stereotypes of African American men, the brutal black buck. Okay, so Cosby is coming up on the 1 year anniversary, because remember, he went to prison in September of last year. So people thought he wasn't gonna make it, but he seems to be holding up quite well. They say that the inmates love him, that he be in there, teaching and counseling and doing, what he does. So he hasn't been broken by the whole thing. He seems to be just as upbeat and defiant as always. And I think I mentioned in another video where people are still mad that he's not showing any remorse. And I contend, as he does, like, what am I showing remorse for if I'm steady telling you that I didn't do any of this, I didn't create any of these, commit any of these crimes, so what am I apologizing for? And so that continues to be the case. And then Camille Cosby released a statement, after they announced that they had filed the appeal, saying that America will be great when it fulfills the last 4 words of the revered Pledge of Allegiance and justice for all. And then she dropped the mic. So now we're going to move over to this hockey player. Now, I don't follow hockey, but evidently hockey has a few black players. And this particular one named Evander Kane doesn't know how to use a condom. Okay, so he has this woman that he's his on and off girlfriend, which I don't understand that on and off. But basically, they don't believe in using any form of birth control because she done got pregnant 3 times. And so twice I think all 3 times she had an abortion. So the first 2 times she just had the abortion. She didn't want to have the baby. But the 3rd time, she's claiming that he promised her $3 million to have this abortion. And so she went and had the abortion and he didn't give her them $3 million. So he is being sued by this woman for breach of contract, and I guess it was a verbal contract. She got some text messages or something, but is this not the craziest thing? And so they had filed a motion, the Evander Kane guy and his attorneys filed a motion saying that the lady needed to reveal who she was, and I guess they were thinking that that would make her drop the case, because who wants to come out and say that you out here having unprotected sex, getting pregnant, and using abortions as a form of birth control? But she said no, she ain't going away. She want her $3 million, so she refiled her case. Her name is Hope Parker, and she said she don't care if we know who she is, that she terminated that pregnancy and she want her money. So is this gonna mess around and Evander Kane turn into another Ray Caruth? Remember Ray Caruth killed that woman because he didn't want her to have that baby, and now the baby was born with all kinds of disabilities. Well, he's an adult now. I think he's like 18 or 19, and Ray Caruth trying to fight to have visitation rights and partial custody of the boy after he done killed the mama. But what do you guys think about Evander Kane? Should he just get a vasectomy if he doesn't want to have kids, or should he stop sleeping with women that he doesn't want to have kids with, or should they just use a condom and call it a day? Do you think that this woman has a case, and that the case should even move forward and be heard in a court of law? But actually, she's not suing him for the $3 million he promised. She is suing him for $6 million. And so I'm going to follow that case to see what happens. I'm really interested in that one. And then the next story you guys may have seen, it was trending on social media, and it is about this boy, this young man who was sleeping in the McDonald's. He worked at McDonald's, and then I guess he was taking a nap, and he had his baby with him. And so this lady came into the McDonald's, and she told the people, oh, there's a guy over there sleeping in the booth. And they said, oh yeah, we know, it's no big deal. And so she took it upon herself to take a picture of him and to post it on social media, because she was just upset, trying to public shame the man for sleeping in the McDonald's when it had absolutely nothing to do with her. And if she didn't want to see him sleeping, she should have got her Big Mac and got back in her car and rolled out. Well, it backfired on her, and it backfired big time, because then people empathized with him. They started reaching out, wanting to know how they can donate money to him. People offered him jobs. A barber, brought him in, cleaned him up, gave him a haircut. Of course, everybody was upset, and they was like, why are people always minding other people's business and that type of thing? And so to me, when I see an instance like this, I'm thinking, okay, here's a 21-year-old man. He's homeless. He has this baby. He's still trying to work. He's still trying to be the best father that he can be. So we never know who God is going to use to do what we need in our lives. And so I just look at her meanness and spitefulness, just brought attention to this guy so that he could receive the help that God intended for him to receive. And then hopefully he will make the best of the situation. He will, get the better job that he was looking for. He'll get some child care. I don't recall the article ever saying where the baby's mother was. So maybe she's homeless. Maybe they're homeless together, and she was going on a job interview, or she has a job and they switch off. The article I read didn't get into all the details of exactly what was going on or where the mother was. But kudos to the people in Georgia who stepped up and did not go along with this lady who was trying to shame this boy, and they actually loaned help to him and gave him the things that he needed. And then this was just a quick snippet about the Jussie Smollett case. So you guys know that, the Cook County Prosecutor's Office has, about a month ago, they released all the written communications, text messages, and everything. So about a week or a week and a half ago, the Chicago Police Department released video of Jussie. We got to see Jussie with the doggone clothesline tied around his neck. They released other information that included information from his social media or his internet habits. And it came out that Jussie was checking himself or Googling himself 50 times a day for news coverage on the case. And so some people would say that, well, that's normal. Like, if this is going on in your life, you want to know what people are saying. You want to know what public opinion is. And so you would be Googling yourself to see what's going on. And then the police, I guess, was trying to say that his behavior was indicative of the fact that he did this whole ruse, that went on, was to get publicity, and that it was just a publicity stunt. And so that's why he was checking the social media. But I tend to believe that he was checking it because it's just human instinct to see what people are saying about you, and especially in a situation like that. But I thought that was cute. And then Chris Brown released his CD the other day called Indigo. And so people, were really excited to find out that in one of his songs, he actually sampled Aaliyah's Back and Forth, which was also produced by R. Kelly. And, just going to show that no matter how much people try to mute R. Kelly, you cannot mute his influence and his impact on the entertainment industry. And then also I was reading some of the reviews of the album, and so in typical fashion, there's a whole bunch of Jim Dare goddesses out there because I was hard pressed to find any positive reviews on Chris's new CD. But his fans love it, and at the end of the day, that's all that really matters, is what the fans say and who's buying the CDs and who's streaming the music and who's purchasing the downloads. So kudos to Chris Brown on his new release. And the single that the sample is on is called Throw It Back. Then we have our Idris Elba, where everybody was just sex symbol of the black community, who got married on Us, but people love him. So over the years, there have been rumors about Idris Elba possibly being the first black James Bond. And so we've heard that rumor over and over again. So Idris is finally speaking on it. and he is basically saying that he was disheartened over the backlash. You know, people were upset and angry, saying that, you know, James Bond was this white man, this English white man, and why would they cast this black man in the role? And so he said that that really bothered him. So Idris is going to be on the cover of the upcoming edition of Vanity Fair magazine. And so when they were interviewing him, that was one of the things that they shared. But he does have a movie coming out called The Fast and Furious Presents Hobbs and Shaw. So I don't know what that's going to be all about. And I don't even know the last time I watched a Fast and Furious movie, but now I know that Idris is going to be in it. I might check it out. But the quote that he said was, you just get disheartened when you get people from a generational point of view going, it can't be. And it really turns out to be the color of my skin. Elba 46 said in response to the backlash. And then if I get it and it didn't work, or it did work, what would it be because of my skin color? Like, would that be the issue? And so he says that it's a difficult position to put myself into when I don't need to. But he just goes on to admit that it's an iconic role that he wants the chance to play if given the opportunity, and he would do his best with it. And he says that James Bond is hugely coveted icon, beloved character that takes audiences on the massive escapism journey. Of course, if someone said to me, do you want to play James Bond? I'd be like, yeah, that's fascinating to me, but it's not something I've expressed like, yeah, I want to be the black James Bond, because by the way, we're talking about a spy. If you really want to break it down, the more less obvious it is, the better. So I think Idris would make a great James Bond, and y'all stop hating on him. And then the last bit of news broke yesterday, I believe it was, or either Saturday. What's that little boy named Lil Nas X, the one with the Old Town song that we really wish would go away? Well, he kind of half-hearted came out that he was gay. Now, he didn't just come out and say, he was like, if you're wondering about my sexuality, you should know the answer if you listen to some song on his CD. And I'm like, boy, either you is or you ain't, okay? And either you're coming out or you're not coming out. But at the end of the day, who cares? Okay, like, it annoys me when people feel the need to come out. Like, who cares? Nobody cares. But anyway, that's it for Brothers. How y'all doing? Leave your comments below, rate the video, and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.